Hello, this is a video response to a video called Don't Stay in School by Dave from Boy in a Band. If you haven't seen the video, watch it now, link in the doobly-doo. Hello Dave! I watched your video and it was incredible! I loved everything about it. I loved how it made some really good points, it was really well made. It was just very thought-provoking, and the idea of putting it all together into a hip-hop song was just amazingly entertaining. On top of that, I love all the other stuff you do here on YouTube, and I genuinely wish you all the best in this current endeavour of yours. Which is why it pains me so much to say that I kind of strongly disagree with the main point you made. So let's just kick off with the things I do agree with. The British curriculum could do with some drastic changes in order to allow for some of the more useful skills and pieces of knowledge that you bring up yourself. I agree with this main point, and on top of the lengthy list of lessons that you bring up yourself, I could add a couple myself. However, you seem to be working under the assumption that if something isn't relevant to the day-to-day lives of the average person, then it's not worth making mandatory in schools. Respectfully disagree. Leaving aside the fact for a moment that it's kind of risky to expect teenagers to make these decisions about their optional subjects, which will have far-reaching consequences on their future careers, I still have a major issue with your main premise. To illustrate my point here, let me use the example of physical education, PE. So, by your logic, you could say that we shouldn't make PE mandatory, because no one really needs to know the rules of basketball. Do you see the flaw with this argument? See, I hated PE as much as my fellow nerd, but I would still argue that we need to make PE mandatory because it's good for you. I use this comparison because I think you'd make the same point about many of the other subjects you talk about. Sure, you might never need to know how to solve a quadratic equation, but maths teaches us to think analytically about things, and history teaches us about this society in which we live, and the physical sciences teach us about the world around us. Sure, the details aren't that important or interesting, but spending time on them is important. I might not be able to convince you that there's really any value in learning about the internal structure of the human cell. I doubt I'll be able to do that. But hopefully this point I made about PE and physical education, hopefully I'll still manage to get one point across, which is that to base decisions about the curriculum on what the average person is going to need in their day-to-day lives is such a short-sighted idea that you could give it a Game Boy and it would still need glasses. There are so many other reasons why you might want to make something mandatory in the curriculum. The main one I can think of being that it might be what makes all of this around us possible. Sure, let's also include some time for all the useful subjects and skills that you mentioned. I'm all for that, and I am genuinely happy for you that this idea is gaining some traction. However, I do worry that your hashtag is also spreading the notion that school in itself is useless, which is a really harmful and not helpful and foolish idea. Also, you can't really teach people how to vote. That's kind of the point of voting. This is the missing end turning off his camera.